Hi, I'm back again. It's a good day to do some music, considering it seems like everyone out there might have to be in isolation, so I hope you're all staying safe. Starting from a clean slate today. So I did my show, my show, I wouldn't say that really, my thing on Thursday, which was really cool. I didn't end up actually playing solo, but I jammed with a bunch of other people. If more people are around later and on the YouTube video, I'll paste the link if you want to see the little live jam that happened. It was me and anywhere from 3 to 1 other musician at a time. One guy who's also modular, a couple other guys who are more in the box, or a couple of little hardware synths. So, but yeah, it was cool. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it, and it was even though, interestingly, Marbles here froze on me, completely froze up, wouldn't send any clock signals. Everything was stopped except for you could like turn on and off buttons, but I didn't want to power cycle while everything was hooked in because it'd pop the speakers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. But even though Marbles was frozen and that sort of killed part of the patch, it still sounded pretty decent, and no one really noticed. So that was good. It helped with the nerves and all that. But anyway, so I will link that video later or in the comments for the actual live show jam thing. And then I also recorded what I intended on playing, and that'll be a YouTube video soon enough as well if you're interested. But for today, like I said, starting from scratch, and I was looking through this book. Oh, if you don't have a copy of this, you should definitely get a copy of this. It's great for ideas, and there's so many interesting stories in it. Highly suggested. But I was going through the book, and I realized that I don't think ever in my modular career I have used an envelope follower. Ever. Nor a pitch follower. So I figured that we could try that today. I'm going to try first with guitar signal because I'm curious of a few things. I'm curious if I can essentially play the guitar and get it changed to volt per octave, and if I can then quantize that to another scale, that would be interesting. Or if I can have a synth being triggered and following the guitar at like an octave up or fifth up or things like that. I'm just curious about whether that will work at all. So we're going to give that a shot. In order to do that, I'm definitely going to need the disting, and I'm going to need its manual. So I got that pulled up. We're going to have a quick look. We're not going to have a look at that one because apparently it's got the wrong browser. Okay, well, we're not going to have a look. Something's up with my streaming setup, apparently. But anyway, it's B3 that is the pitch and envelope tracker. So we're going to switch. Oh, we're going to switch. Algorithm. B3. Okay, so I'll get the guitar in a second here, but let's get things patched up first. So we'll need to come out of the guitar input, probably malted if we want to hear it as well. And let's see, it says that A is a volt per octave pitch derived from X plus an offset of Y. So that means that this has got to go into X. And we'll deal with the offsetting later once we can see if this actually works in the first place here. So that should give us volt per octave pitch out on A and an envelope on B. So let's just try this with, let's try it with plats. We'll do plats in the inharmonic string mode just so it sort of matches. So A is volt per octave. We'll send that into volt per octave. I guess I don't need long cables for this. I could do little tiny ones. Okay, and then B should be the envelope. So that can just go into level, I suppose. And we'll send this out. Have a listen. Turn off the reverb for now. Okay, so I need a guitar. I have no idea if this is in tune, but that's okay. It'll serve its purpose of seeing if this works. So let's see. Oh. It's trying. You can hear it trying. Definitely not tracking yet. It's trying, but not having much luck. Let's see if I got a pick here. Let's make this a little louder. Nope. It's even being boosted 20 dB, and still. All right, let's leave the envelope out and just see if we can get volt per octave. Try another mode on this. It is close. I think it just might need some offset. So let's use tetrapad to give it an offset here. I'm not really sure why that's triggering like that. Okay, then at least got like a bassy patch here, but let's see. So an offset, we can just use tetrapad. We're already in voltages mode, so from the last time I set this up. So this, let's clear this here, and we'll set one of these to plus 1 volt. Oh, I don't know what that just picked up, but so we'll offset it by 1 volt in Y. Whoa, that's weird. It's sort of tracking volt per octave. Wow, this is weird. Z is slew rate for envelope, it says, if I need to use that, so. It's definitely not perfect. I'm playing a high E, and that's definitely not in tune. Let's put the envelope back in. It's just, now that we've offset it, is it gonna do anything for us? Sort of. See if maybe a different pickup. So all over the place. It's funny. Interesting. Well, I'm not convinced about how good of a job this necessarily does, picking up guitar signal, at least coming straight in raw with no amplification or anything like that. Do I have that little golden pedal of mine sitting around? the amp simulator, and I don't think that I do, sadly. That would have been interesting to try. All right. Well, no luck there. Wonder if I send it out, because I got the micropog set up as a pedal. Let's just see if that can pick up anything that helps this. Because the micropog is already essentially doing this in a way. It's pitching everything up an octave, right? So turn this on, turn off the dry, and turn up the octave up. Nah, hasn't. Playing a chord is interesting through this. Problem is I can hear the guitar here, of course you can't, so it makes it harder to tell if it's actually tracking anything of any use. Oops. This is tracking better, actually. A little bit. It gives it a bit of a detuned effect. That's kind of cool. It seems to have a sweet spot for sure. You go too high or too low, it can't really track very well. But these notes are tracking pretty well. Yeah, chords are not the answer. Chords are not the answer. But okay. The envelope tracking, to a certain point, works well. So instead of doing, let's just concentrate on the envelope tracking, since the pitch tracking is a little bit unstable. God, that was horrible. Okay. So just the envelope tracking then. Let's keep this going through the micropog, why not? But I was thinking, take this, put it through a filter, and sort of see if we can get that, what do they call it? The auto-wah effect, right? It's supposedly something you can do with these. Oh, I still need to go like this so that it still gets voltage input. Or not voltage, sound input. Go into here, and then we would take the envelope follower, which is B, and put that into the cutoff frequency, I would guess, and it probably has to be relatively high resonance, and like that. And now, yeah. Let me make sure I got the signal path right here. We're going out from there into the mult, which gets multed out into X and into the inputs. The outputs go to here. This is from B. Of course, the problem is that it's Oh yeah, I heard it that time. Interesting. That's a cool effect. Pretty sure it needs probably needs a bit more. Yeah, it needs a bit of attenuating, especially at higher notes. It doesn't really pick up the effect. So, given that, we should take B and do the little trick where we stick it into one end, unipolar, fully turned up, and then we go we add bit to it on the other side, on the second one. So we come in, we have unipolar full, so we take the full signal here, and since this automatically chains together, it will take B, which has nothing going into it, which means it defaults to just the value of this, which we'll put in unipolar mode and give a little bit of voltage. That will give us a little offset. Hopefully make this a little more evident. Let's see. Yeah. Still to make sure you're playing pretty hard, but what does that do with a chord? Interesting. Yeah, I really need to get another mic that's not that crappy little Zoom H1 so that I can get the kalimba going again. A Zoom H1 seems to eat batteries in about 50 seconds. Like, I need just a cheap little mic I can put into all this so that I can get other sounds in, but this is cool, okay. So this would allow me, if I wanted to use a guitar as an additional form of input, right? Because I've already got a boatload of control. Let's just say like planar and tetrapad and tet and like the maze and select and all these other things that are spitting out tons and tons of CV. But this is another hands-on thing that I could use to send little CV bits in here. Like, for instance, let's just do an example. If I was to take an output of telharmonic and put that through here instead. Oops, I should have kept the out. So now, if I play lightly, I can get a little bit of filter sweep. If I play harder, I can get much more of a filter sweep. And at this point, it doesn't even matter what I'm playing. To some degree, I can play an open note. If I play on the higher notes, it's definitely like it makes it more subtle. Yeah, so that's interesting. Really anything that makes, with an envelope folder, really anything that you can get externally into the system that makes noise can essentially, we can use it as another source of modulation, which is cool. I hadn't really considered about doing that, but like, I mean, even get a little drum or something like that. It's too bad about the pitch tracking, but I mean, now that I think about it, I think that I've mostly heard that pitch tracking can be like unstable at the best of times, pretty much. Okay, so let's expand on this a bit. Let's make up sort of the similar version of the telharmonic drone that I had in the last little live set I did, because it was fun and it had a lot of modulation. But let's see how we can perhaps influence that with a envelope follower here. Okay, so let's just have it continue for now. We'll mix the two versions of telharmonic outputs so that we can hear something more interesting. We'll put this in shift register mode. Turn the resonance down a bit, but okay, so what I'm thinking is let's utilize maze a bit here. We'll take our envelope follower. Where is it? This one that comes out of B. We're going to stick it into an input of maze. And then we're also going to take another source of CV. Let's just... it's got some LFOs on it. Let's use an LFO from there. Stick that into another input of maze. Now let's see about blending the two in different ways here. So we'll go to preset 1, which is currently both 1 and 2 at max volume. Let's not do that. Let's just make this... I gotta look at the manual again. I wish there was a quicker way to turn these down or off. I think there is, but... Okay, so that should be just influenced by... of course, I need the output. That would help. So we'll take out 1 into cutoff again. Okay, so now we got just the envelope follower. Preset 2 will have a little bit of the LFO. So there's a bit more of a variance. So that's another preset. Let's have a third preset where we're only dealing with the LFO. Oh, whoa, not 1 and 2. Uh-oh. Turn that off. Obviously messed something up there. Okay, so now we take just input 2. Take it at max volume just for... Okay, so now we've got these three inputs. Let's modulate which one we select, which is another thing that we can do with maze we didn't do last time. Send an LFO into select, I think is the simplest way. It's a little all over the place, but let's just see. Of course, I should have probably actually set them up I shouldn't have set them up vertically. I should have set them up horizontally. That I can do, though. So I'll take this one, make it be 1 and a little bit of 2. this one we adjust to. Okay, now there is a way to make this limit the range, which is really what we would want here. If I can remember, I may have to pull up the manual here. There we go. Yeah, so that's something interesting, of course, you can do with maze. So now we've got varying amounts of the envelope follower being sent in. We could, of course, adjust the LFO speed and things like this, or we could also adjust it so that maze looks for a gate to advance rather than right now it's just dealing with a CV signal. Wow, this is actually really out of tune. One sec. That's better. But you can hear that you get like a pattern out of it, right? When there's nothing playing. Because we're turning on and off the LFO essentially, but then if I play something, we can add in some variance. All right, let's not use filters. That's not nearly as interesting. How about maybe the degree? Oops. Longer cable. So I must not be in the right mode. Hang on a sec. Yeah, now we're in analog shift register mode. So what we can do is a little trick is to patch the gate out, which notices when the degree changes into D-gate. Actually, no, it won't. Right, that will cause a feedback loop because D-gate, yeah. Okay, so that's not going to work. We need a gate. I wonder if there's something we can do with the envelope to convert it to a gate, because there is no, in the pitch and envelope tracker, there isn't a specific gate that comes out, so. Hey, good to see you. I'm just messing around with envelope followers because I've never used them before, which is stuff that's coming from the guitar. Right now I'm using an envelope follower off the guitar to sort of, I was using it to influence filters and sending things through maze so that I could have sort of sequenced CV modified by the filter, but now I'm going to try it with degree and telharmonic to try to make an interesting drone that I can influence by playing the guitar. So I need a gate. We could just try the envelope. It might trigger like high enough to do something. Let's just see. Sorry, that's not the envelope. That's the sound coming in. That's not going to do anything for us. Well, let's multi-envelope then. Probably need, well, I'll just use one of these because it's what I got. Okay, so malted version of the envelope into D-gate, perhaps. If I play hard enough. Not really reliable enough, unless I guess I could put it into C and like unipolar full signal and then D unipolar and add a bunch of signal to it to sort of help boost it, but that might not be enough. It might just not detect enough of a rising edge or something like that to trigger. Let's see. Yeah, okay. That's going to be of no use. All right, so instead, what could we do to get a gate from an envelope without using disting, because I know it has a mode that will capture a gate from an envelope. I don't know that anything else that I have would be able to do that. Okay. Well, we could just have a separate gate source. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll have a separate gate source. We're still going to be picking degree somewhat based off the guitar, so we can just use what we did in the last drone thing, which was random pulses. And let's make this a bit more interesting. And more interesting. It might be even more interesting here to actually use the pitch tracking instead of the envelope, because it's sort of all over the damn place. Maybe? Maybe not. We're patched up, right? Yep. Weird. Alright. Guess we're not gonna get much luck with that. Oh, sorry, one sec, I gotta take this. Okay, sorry about that. Important phone calls. So, where were we? Right, we were at least getting this influenced by this a bit. It is sort of interesting to do it with the envelope follower, because as the envelope follower rises and falls, it's gonna, telharmonic is always gonna fall back to essentially the drone that is on right now. But if you play a note, it'll climb and fall. Which is interesting. I wonder if it does how it does with the, oh god, what is this thing called? The EBO. Definitely picks it up that way too. I don't know that I would necessarily use this method of controlling things here, but I haven't really looked into envelopers too much, which must freezing modular with controllers. Yeah, but I mean, there's tons of things that you could do. Like I could, well, I mean, let's try. Let's drop the guitar for now and just use sounds that are inside the modular. Because there's a video I watched a little while back where someone was using an envelope follower, like they were playing back samples, like sample tracks essentially, and then sticking an envelope follower on the track and using that to influence effects that were going on. So let's do something like that. I'll take out telharmonic for the moment. If we were to let's load up the whole DivKids drone project here, because it can be useful for this kind of thing. So we'll just output it for now, so oops, that we can hear. Pick something that sounds good. But it's really for anything, any sort of audio source whatsoever, or even, I think you can even use it with a CV source, but I don't know why you would. You could just mult the CV. But all right, let's see what we got here. All right, that's a nice long sound, so that will work. So what we should do then is we can either, well, I guess we're going to only take one side of this because we only want, we only have the one envelope follower right now. So if I take, I don't know, the right side, sure, and we put it into this mult, and come off the mult as well, and into here. I'm just gonna pull the other cable so I don't start getting confused. So now we should be able to hear it, and it should be going into the envelope follower. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so it's definitely generating this interesting, like, quasi-random CV, but that sort of tracks the feel of the drone, right? So if we were to now take this and let's put it in QPass, and we'll send both these outputs through QPass. We'll use Smile Pass because it's not too destructive. see what that sounds like now. So you could hear me turn up the resonance there, right? So I'm changing the filter position with a static resonance, but the resonance, like the notch on the smile pass filter, which is where the resonance is occurring, is based on the drone to a degree. That versus like if I pulled that out. Yeah, it's quite different. Wow, this is a long patch. Let's just let that go for a while. People can randomly show up on this channel and think, oh, I created a cool drone. It is not mine. It is not mine. This is DivKid's stuff that's in the simulator, so I make cool stuff, but this is not one of them. Alright, so what else could we do with this envelope follower? Just trying dropping it directly in resonance. What about in the rotates? Rotate. You recognize the sample? Yep. It is. We're gonna see what we can do with envelope followers to make it a little more interesting. I think I wonder about just this. That's good. And then the other sides rotate. Interesting. What else could we influence with this? Let's think here. We could take out these things so they don't confuse me. Follower goes through Q-Pass. This is already making a difference to the sound. We could send the... Right, we're just doing a 1 volt offset, but that was for the pitch, so that doesn't matter. I think that's most of the people that I get on here. They're not coming here from a music perspective. They like modulation, but that's good. I like to see that. Okay, so what we could do is do that little bit of maze modulation that I was talking about here. So pull this for a sec. We'll go, this can be an input to maze. And the output can just go directly into that mult. So now we should be able to now we can add a little bit of variation with maze by adding in a small amount of LFO or taking it out with one button press, which is nice. Let's see, what else can we do to jazz this up with envelope follower related stuff? I wonder if pitch tracking will work here. Let's just see. If we shove volt per octave into plats and then output plats on top of this, will we get something that actually tracks? The answer is no. Thanks, Moonhouse. I can't take credit. This is purely a sample from that DivKid made, but we're using envelope followers to try to mess with that sample and see what we can, what difference we can make here. So let's also, just so that we have the visibility into it, let's take these left and right channels, and we're going to send them through select so that I can turn on and off. So I can turn on and off the, or not on and off. I can go between filtered signal, or the one that we're modifying, and the raw signal, so that it's easier to sort of do an A/B test. So, all right. So we'll take A side, goes to the mult, which is being used for the envelope follower, on the right side. So that's one, and then the B side will just go direct out to the mixer. Longer cables. So that'll go into 8 here. It has basically the same settings for all intents and purposes. So this is our modified signal. And that's just the raw signal. Okay, that's excellent to have that little A/B. Okay. Other things we can do. I was thinking of mixing outputs of QPass in. But let's see what we can do. How would I do that? Actually, that's sort of something that I don't really... Well, I can use the axis for that, I guess. I could use it as a crossfader, so pull these for a sec. Send these into one side of the crossfader. And I don't know, maybe the bandpass one? Thanks, Moonhouse. Appreciate it. Let's try the bandpass side of QPass, and we'll just see what that sounds like. Manually controlled to start, and then we'll put the envelope follower into it afterwards. So try something more drastic with the low pass. Maybe the high pass to really make sure that I can actually hear this. Actually really not anywhere near as drastic as I would have thought it would be. I guess I'm not influencing the frequency that much, so. Okay. Let's stay out of that idea for now then. We'll go back to the original, well, let's not quite go to the original patch. Let's put this through Rainmaker. I haven't done things with Rainmaker in a little while here. And then we can use the envelope follower to control some of its parameters. I don't know what mode it's even sitting in right now, so we'll see if this just destroys our earbuds or yeah. That can come out. Okay, we're completely dry right now. I don't think Techno Loop is a good preset sounding for this. Let's just get a really simple one to start and make sure that we can. Cool. Did you hear that little ringing sound? Just A-Bing this some more. Okay, that's interesting. Now, what can we use the envelope follower on here? Let's see. Interesting. Let's see if this has any real effect here. Oops. Here, stop knocking the cameras, and then we'll go. So this is the raw sound again. This is our modified sound. Let's also have this. I'm just gonna take the envelope follower and put my many-sided malt into it so that I can put it in many more places now. So feedback, how about that? Or maybe pitch shift just to see. Just trying to put a little bit of pitch shift, it could be interesting. Throws it just a little bit wonky. Especially if you add the little bit of LFO into. Makes it sound drunk. Alright, where else can we go? Yeah, definitely creepy. Seem to be good at making creepy sounds when I don't intend to. Alright, what mod B? Yeah, there might not be anything I really want to modulate in here. So we already did. Oh, I just noticed we're actually skipped something. Still needed this in here. There we go. So there's the original, and then weirdly modulated envelope followed thing with a little bit of LFO going into it as well. If I wasn't using disting as an envelope follower, I would also use it now to like take that envelope follower and invert it to, well, I guess I could invert the envelope follower just sending it through a tenniverter, so I don't know, let's try that. I don't know where I'll send it yet, but here and be inverted. Oh, we are missing one of the rotates. Let's see what happens if... Actually, it's already gotten a tenniverter, so that was already being inverted if I wanted it to be anyway, so... what else can we do with this signal path? Because we're going in stereo, so it would be ideal not to just modify one side. I don't have that much more that's our stereo modules. Milky Way is the exception. I don't know, let's try Milky Way in distortion mode, because I haven't done that in a bit, and it was really fun the last time I did it, so... I think it's one of these. fast on the volume knob of this. Manual. Let's look it up. This thing is the end follower right now, yep. So distortion is on the red mode, or overdrive rather, on the first less lit one. Trying to see about what the secondary modes are. Cabin pressure is drive amount, cabin fever is tone control. And then the tap button is supposed to toggle on and off, but that doesn't seem to be the case. As impactful as I would have imagined it would be here. How about flanger could be good. Whoa. Or flanger could be insane. Okay, that's more interesting. If I shove the envelope follower in there, I bet I'll get something good. Or it'll be insane. I have to turn the attenuation way down. Wow, it's like destroying it. Well, that's nothing like the original sound. So, there's the original sound. From there we went to... Oh, it's hard to tell unless you like flip back and forth fast. We did cut some of the depth to it, but... This would also be, I think, a really good case for I might take both the dry sound and the wet sound and actually put them, instead of putting them through a switch, put them through Axis and crossfade the two. To have that effect come in and out, that would be neat. So yeah, that is something I have not experimented with before, is envelope followers on an existing sound to sort of have effects follow the rise and fall of the sound. Of course, I don't think it would work for a lot of the drones that I've done so far because the volume doesn't tend to adjust that much, and that's primarily what the envelope follower is tracking here, but this particular sample does a good job of coming in and out and in and out, so that might be something I need to work with on my some of my drones here. Oh yeah, we were gonna see about if we can get anything out of Platts here with the pitch follower. Not really so far, I gotta say. Oh, but it... could be interesting actually to modulate morph in that voicey mode. Or even to send the envelope follower in that case, really. Let's do that instead of the pitch. That could be interesting. Maybe I'll take that inverted version of the pitch follower I had, or the envelope follower I had, and put that into harmonics so it picks a different... That's kind of interesting. It might have actually been better without the... Instead of a pitch for an envelope follower, that might be more interesting with a slow LFO. Or random, slow random. Makes it sound like an old scratchy radio or something. Well, that's cool. How many places did we send this to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different places that the envelope follower went to for this? Again, that's the raw sound. Minus Platts. And then that's the crazy, loopy, modified sound. I definitely want to blend these two together rather than A being, so let's do that. So we need... This is the raw signal, so it can just go... will I be able to? Because I have to split the signal. I'm not sure. Think about this. Come out of here. Right now we're splitting manually into two different paths. We would need to mult both sides, which I don't have the buffered mult capacity for, but I guess that'd be... So this can act as a buffered mult, since we're not using the inverted one, looks like, for now. So we'll just send one of these into C and one into A, and just make sure that everything is unipolar and turned all the way up, except for maybe not. Well, it might be the case for the other ones too. Unipolar and turned all the way up. So, although maybe not for B and D, they might actually need to be down. Let's just make sure that this makes sense. We'll listen to one side. It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, it doesn't actually matter. Okay, so now those are malted. So we can come, or no, they're not malted because they're gonna be, it's gonna be split if I plug into here. I'm not gonna be able to pick up the signal here. Shoot, okay. How else can I do this? Well, oh wait, I'm already malting one side of this here, right? Yeah, okay. So I've already got, like, I think I took the right side into this so that it can go out to the envelope follower and out to an output. And in this case, it will also go out to another output. So it goes to one output and also goes to one side, the right side of the crossfader. And this one will do the same thing. We'll go out of left into the buffered mult. Come out of one side of the buffered mult, or one part of the buffered mult, into the other side of the crossfader, so that's our raw signal. And then we just have to get the input on the other side of that buffered mult into the right side of the QPass. So now we have two copies of the signal, one that goes through the QPass, one that does not. Pull these. The signal that eventually comes out of all this, which is the Rainmaker, needs to be sent over to the other side of the crossfader. Make sure that they're not phase canceling each other here, because that's important. This one is left. Is was left, which came out on the red one, so that's left. Okay, so it's left, right, and then finally. Now we're no longer using the switch. Now we've got a crossfader and everything, so we can, that's the dry signal essentially. And there's our crazy wet signal. So we could mix these like 50-50 if we wanted to. Or we could even take the envelope follower and have that control the crossfade level. Let's do that, I'm curious. Very subtle. You can maybe just see it. Well, you can't because there's 1,000 wires in the way. If you watch the orange lights, they're much less subtle now. That's an interesting effect, I guess. Sort of fades it in and out a little bit. And now we officially used all the melts we can. So, although I wonder how much voltage drop I'm getting with this much stuff going out of here. I mean, it's not pitch CV, obviously. And we do have the LFO added in just a little bit from the maze as well. Let's change that actually. Let's the LFO a little bit. Now I'm also curious, how about I take 1/2 of the sample output. We'll just take the left side, I guess, and let's throw it through my pedal, the micropog. You can't really see it down here, but and we'll have the pedal be no dry signal and all octave up, and just see if that gives another like interesting bit of depth. It does. We got a sub octave too. It's interesting because it only picks it up the sound every so often, right? Since it's used to tracking guitars, it's really looking for an actual signal to come through, like a more strummy signal. So every time that there's a sort of change in the drone, the micropog picks it up and pitches it up, which is interesting. Let's actually take its output through the lo-fi junkie. Which, by the way, I now have plans to get rid of, not for the reason that I don't like it, because I love it, but I'm gonna get the pedal version instead, because I don't modulate it, like, ever. I found lately in my, you'll see when I post a YouTube video of the live set sometime this weekend, that I've been actually really liking Lo-Fi Junkie with a square wave. Hey Mac. So if I turn it up, you can sort of hear it. It gives it a really broken sound. Well, this has turned out pretty cool. 90% of what you see here, or what you hear here beyond the sample, is controlled by an envelope follower of that sample. So, I'm doing good, Mac. No, it's actually not odd. This is normal time for me. I usually stream on Saturdays at like 10 a.m. Mountain for a couple hours. So. Which is also makes it good for those of you who are EU based. I figure right now, those of you who are could use all the interesting things you can get because you're all trapped at home. The other thing I could have done with this envelope follower is put it into something like planar, so that we could bring in and out the amount. It'd be similar to Maze, except for not so much, not so regimented. Maze lets you blend CV signals as well, but it's also, you switch between different settings, or you can morph between settings, but planar would be a little more smooth, I think. It's still running and recording and everything. Yeah, so you're in the EU, yeah. Makes sense. I try to get one in a week that works for North American people and one that works for European people. So. Alright, where would I go from here? Or am I going to go from here? Watching a YouTube video on chord progression circle fifths. Yes. Makes it much easier when you know a bit of music theory. But I don't, so that's why I got Telharmonic and other things that do it for me. Actually, I do know a little bit about chord progressions, but not a huge amount. Oh yeah, I was gonna say too, by the way, for the live set, it did really help to have everything going through the Octolink. Made repatching easier. I did end up having to label about 12 or 13 patch cables to make things work, but it was 8 less than it would have been otherwise, so I was considering getting rid of the Octolink, and now I don't know. It has its uses, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, what else could we do here? Curious about what QPass's little exclamation point inputs sound like with this current setup, so I'm just gonna stick it into the gate for planar. The right one doesn't do much. Actually, neither of them does that much. Not really sending a gate. It's just record a quick sequence here so we can get it to send some gates. Right, it's externally clocked. Just to make sure. It's surprisingly little. Can you sequence a chord progression easily on the telharmonic in a specific order? Yes. Yes, you can. Like I said, I usually run it in analog, the shift register mode, which is not really used for doing chord progressions, but like the default mode of telharmonic and what it was originally designed for is exactly that, being able to sequence. So the idea is you set the tonic, so the root of the scale you want to be in, and then degree will choose like the degree in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. in the scale. So therefore you can you pick your tonic as C or whatever, and you use the degree. Use the degree to sequence each one of the chords in whatever progression you want, and then interval controls. Like, is it minor? Is it a minor scale? Is it a major scale, etc., etc.? And I think that you can also control inversions at some point in there. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that was the whole point of telharmonic from the beginning, was to make it so that you can. They call it voltage-controlled music theory. So you can. You could pretty much, if you set a tonic and put random things into the degree, you get something that sort of works to some degree, right? It's not going to necessarily be like a, like a standard poppy chord progression or whatever, but you can very easily, like I could use stages in the mode that it's in right now with the like stored voltages, or I could use tetrapad to very easily sequence like a 1, 3, 5 or whatever chord sequence you might want to do in there. So yeah, it's great for that kind of thing, but I don't really tend to do that very often, surprisingly, so. It's interesting. Some of the sounds we get out of this sound like Rainmaker is making birds. By the way, I should note too that that little modular help thing is down for the moment, because here's my micro intermittent prime. It works, but I don't have room for it now. It's gonna get moved up here into the 1U in a bit, but for now, no control, sadly. Expert Sleeper General CV seems very careful with the chord stuff too. It's cheaper also. Yeah, I've heard of it, but I thought General CV was designed for. I thought it was a MIDI to CV thing. I might be wrong. Let me look it up. Right, yeah, this is the one that has that weird. The general MIDI sounds in it, which are like those generic sounds that like they used in the beginning to like, they're like standard for certain MIDI things, something like that. Yeah, it's a CV to MIDI converter as well, and a MIDI synthesizer, which is the general MIDI sounds. Complex chords and textures. Interesting. Oh yeah, I guess because it's massively multi-timbral and polyphonic. Yeah, so in that respect that helps, because it's not really like it's not really like a VCO or anything like that, right? It's more sort of like just a little computer with a bunch of like WAV files in it that you're playing back, right? It's almost like a sampler in a way, but your samples are preset, but with probably a lot more polyphony and whatnot than a sampler would have. So, I mean, if you like the sounds, the general MIDI sounds, then like I could see that being decent. But again, I'm imagining based on what I see of that, you're either going to be having to, you're probably going to have to be programming the MIDI sequences yourself and loading it into it, or maybe sending it in via CV. But if it's massively polyphonic, I suspect you'd really need to program a MIDI sequence. So you need a computer to do that probably, or another sequencer that outputs MIDI. It wouldn't be as easy as a telharmonic, because the telharmonic you can do a chord progression with one output cable and 2 input cables, right? So yeah, that's an interesting option, but seems pretty specialized to me. You gotta enjoy making MIDI, and you've gotta enjoy the sounds of general MIDI. Which actually, I have no idea what any of those sounds are. I'm sure that if I heard them, I'd be like, oh, that's like something from the Windows 95 days that I remember, or other crap like that. Yeah, oddly, that did not, the question mark input did not actually do much for us on QFast, which is interesting. I'm not really sure why. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna finish up a little bit early here, actually, because I got a few things that I need to do to prepare for inevitable quarantines. So, yeah, this was good. This was interesting. I hope that this showed any of you who've been watching about how useful envelope followers can be. So many piano strings, and yeah, I imagine there's a whole ton of different samples in there. I imagine it's quite versatile in terms of the sounds it can make. It just doesn't feel like it would be as versatile in terms of how you can control it. If you really want massively polyphonic sounds, anyway. But, I mean, you could always, I don't remember if it had a USB MIDI or anything like that, but I imagine if it does, you could always hook up a keyboard to it and play something that way. But yeah, I think we will end it for now. Envelope followers, they are cool. Try using them. I hadn't up until this point. I probably will a lot now because it did some really interesting things to this sample. Yeah, and so I will, I don't have the link actually handy right now, but I will drop in the comments for this on YouTube, I'll drop a link to the jam performance that I did on last Thursday, and then you'll see another YouTube video for the for what I was intending to play, my solo performance version of it that I recorded earlier today. So yeah, other than that, I hope everyone stays safe, and I will see you all on Wednesday, hopefully. And thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Oh, yeah, let's see where we can send you first here. If there's anyone up and about. Yeah. There's some deluge stuff going on in another channel, so I'll send you over there. You guys all have a good rest of your day.